Recently I've been eating this fantastic rice at a Persian restaurant, and it's the best rice I've ever had. Layered with saffron and sour barberries, it's got a kick that goes perfect with anything, but particularly with this Persian chicken. This is Zereshk Polo ba Morgh. To make Zereshk Polo, there's technically 3 separate components we need to make: white rice, saffron rice and caramelized barberries. Together they make a savoury rice with perfect little pops of sour sweetness. First you'll need to get hold of some sort of thin long grain rice. This is a popular Iranian variety called Hashemi, and there's a few others which I'll mention in the description. It's very similar to Basmati rice in terms of structure and texture, but it's a little thicker. If you already have Basmati rice, you can use it instead. Add 2 cups or 400 grams of rice to a bowl, then pour over loads of room temperature water and thoroughly wash the rice to remove all of the starch. That will take about 3 washes, replacing the water each time. Washing off the starch should prevent the rice from clumping together when cooking, so it's very important that you do this. Once the water stops going cloudy, leave your rice to soak in some clean water for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, you should fill a large pot with loads of water and turn the heat to high to bring it to a boil. When it boils, add in 2 teaspoons of salt and then add all of the rice you soaked. We're going to cook this rice the Persian method, which involves boiling the rice like pasta until it's about 70% of the way cooked through. The grains should double in size, and you want to stop cooking them once the grain softens, but still has a little bit of an uncooked core on the inside. For my rice that took about 6 minutes of boiling, but check yours every minute or so. When you feel it's ready, pull the rice out of the pot and then let it cool off by running it through some cold water. Place the pot back on the stove and then add in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Drain your rice and add it back into the pot, then use a spatula to shape it into a conical shape like this. Pour over a little more oil, then use the handle of a spoon or spatula to poke some steam vents into the rice. Those will allow the steam to escape from the rice and should give us a fluffier texture. Turn the heat up to medium and cover the pot with the lid, then leave it covered until it starts to develop steam. After a few minutes the pot should fill with some steam. Turn the heat to low and wrap the lid in a clean kitchen towel, then place it back on the pot. This needs to steam for about 15 to 20 minutes, during which the rice will finish cooking. Once the rice is done steaming, you'll hopefully have grains of rice that look like this, though this is far from perfect. Fluff it up with a fork and check the texture. It should be cooked through without being mushy. The first time I made this rice, I accidentally overboiled it during the first stage, and although it was edible, it resulted in a delicate and sticky mess after steaming. My technique is still unrefined, so if you are Persian or Central Asian and have some tips, leave them in the comments below. Hey, Obi here. I just wanted to point out that if you want a sneaky shortcut, you can replace the rice with microwavable packets of Basmati rice, though expect every Persian person to be ashamed by your actions. Alright, back to the recipe. Now that you've got your cooked rice, it's time to make the other components. For the saffron rice, you need to make some liquid saffron, which will give the rice its flavour and yellow colour. If you aren't aware, saffron is the world's most expensive spice by far. Thankfully, you only need a very small amount for the rice. About 20 threads or 0.2 grams should be enough to give it a vibrant colour. Place the saffron into a mortar, then crack over a small pinch of salt, and that will act as an abrasive as we grind the saffron. You want to grind it until all of the saffron has broken down and you have a fine looking powder like this. The next step is to turn it into a liquid, and I do that by adding a few tablespoons of hot water from my kettle. Give that a good mix and all of the saffron powder will dissolve, leaving you with a rich and golden saffron extract. To colour the rice, take about 1 cup of the cooked rice and place it in a mixing bowl. You'll then pour the liquid saffron over the rice, which will give it a deep yellow colour. Use a fork to fluff and mix the rice with the saffron until the whole thing is evenly coloured. The rice will have a powerful saffron flavour, which is why there's so little saffron rice on top of the white rice. In terms of the barberries, these are served by mixing some caramelised barberries with some of the saffron rice. Barberries themselves are a tart and sour berry, which is used extensively in Persian cuisine. Caramelising the berries gives them a bit of a sweet and sour taste, kind of like how pomegranate seeds are. They are sold in the form of dried barberries, which you can find in packets like this. The first step is to rehydrate them, so place half a cup of barberries into a bowl and pick out the darker looking ones or any that don't look great. Now pour over loads of water, then give the berries a quick mix to wash off any dirt. Drain the barberries and then refill the bowl with fresh water, then place the clean barberries in there to soak for about 10 minutes. When the barberries are done soaking, they should be a little plump. Drain off the liquid and then pick out any of the barberries which don't look that great. In a pan, melt about 1 tablespoon of butter over medium heat. Once it has melted, add in the soaked barberries and follow them up with a tablespoon of sugar. You also need to add a couple tablespoons of liquid, so I tried adding a little saffron liquid instead of water as a few recipes suggested, but I really couldn't taste the saffron over the flavour of the berries. Let the barberries cook in the liquid for a few minutes until the majority of the liquid evaporates, and you should be left with plump and jammy berries that look like this. They're the perfect level of sweet and sour, with a light fruitiness that really cuts through meaty dishes. To turn them into Barberry rice, take part of the cooked berries and mix them with some of the saffron rice. The end result should be a slightly redder saffron rice with loads of sweet and sour barberries mixed in. One final thing you should do is break up the crispy fried rice you should have in the bottom of your pot. It's a basic form of tahdig or crispy Persian rice, and it's a real delicacy in Iran. Cut it into a few pieces and then serve it to your favourite guests. Before we assemble the rice, let's quickly chat about how I assemble the skincare routine with the sponsor of today's video, Geology. A few weeks ago I realised I should probably be taking better care of my skin, being that I'm on camera so often. So I went online to find a beginner skincare routine and it got confusing real quick. That led me to Geology, a 9 times award-winning men's skincare company that takes the guesswork out of developing a simple and effective routine for your skin. As a skincare newbie, I had no idea which products I needed, since my goal was to fix my dark under eyes. So I took Geology's 30-second diagnostic quiz and it matched me with regimen number 28. That includes 2 bottles of face wash, a morning face cream, a night cream, and finally a nourishing eye cream. All of these products are made using active ingredients that are simple and scientifically proven to be effective. For example, the eye cream has kojic acid, hyaluronic acid, and caffeine, all of which are proven to prevent tired-looking eyes. After just a few days, I'm already feeling like my skin is doing better, thanks to the products and this little card that reminds me how and when to use them. So if you want to find your custom skincare routine, head to geology.com and take their free skincare quiz to save 70% off on your 30-day trial kit using the code EAT70. That's the 5-piece set for only $15 at the link in the description. Thank you, Geology. To serve the Zereshk Polo, we'll begin by plating up a pile of the white rice, which should make up most of the rice on your plate. On top of that rice you'll add some of the saffron rice, and it's really potent so you only need about 10% as much. Next you'll add some of the Barberry rice mixture, but you'll need even less of this than the saffron one. In terms of garnish, I'm going to add some sliced pistachio, which is optional but will provide some textural contrast. That is how you put together a wonderful Zereshk Polo that I honestly think is one of the best rice dishes. To complement the amazing rice, we'll serve it alongside this incredibly flavourful chicken. It's cooked in a fantastic umami sauce that is made with saffron, turmeric and tomato. Start off by again making some saffron extract. This time we'll need about twice as much for the chicken. We then need to prep our chicken, and I've mostly seen this recipe done with chicken legs, though breasts will work as well. Take 1 kilogram of chicken legs, and if they've still got their skin on, you'll need to pull it off and remove it. To make a cleaner tasting sauce, you could optionally poach the chicken. Place the chicken in a large pot, cover it with loads of water, and bring it to a simmer over medium heat. Simmer for 5 minutes, and when it has loads of foamy gunk, pull out the chicken and switch to a heavy bottomed pan. Add 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil to the pan and turn the heat to medium-high, then once it has heated, add in the chicken. We want to fry them for about 3 to 5 minutes per side and flip them over when they are golden. The frying is going to leave us with lots of brown bits or frond in the base of the pan, which will give our sauce more flavour. Once they're fried on the second side and are golden all over just like this, pull the chicken out so we can make the sauce. Start by adding a medium onion chopped to a medium-sized dice. We use 2 smaller onions which sauteed for about 5 minutes until they soften. When the onions look like this, you can optionally add in a minced clove of garlic to give the sauce a little more body. Cook off the garlic for a minute, then add in 50 grams of tomato paste. To season, add 2 teaspoons of salt to the pan, then follow that up with a teaspoon of black pepper and a teaspoon of ground turmeric. Mix that all together until it is well distributed, then cook off the tomato and spices for about 60 seconds. Now add about half a cup of water and then work it into the tomato and spices to form a thick sauce. Use a spoon or spatula to stir the sauce, which should deglaze the pan, picking up all of the brown bits of chicken. When the pan looks mostly clean, you should add in a cup of hot water and then stir that all together until the sauce thins out. Let it come to a simmer over medium heat, then add the chicken legs back to the pan upside down. The liquid should come most of the way up the chicken, so if it doesn't, add a little more water. Now let the pan bubble away for about 15 minutes so that the chicken can cook. I just want to point out that you could probably make this chicken simpler by putting all the raw ingredients in a pot and simmering it for about 45 minutes or so. Also, it might work in a pressure cooker. Alright, back to the video. When the 15 minutes are up, you should flip the chicken over and let that cook for about 15 minutes more. During that time, spoon the sauce over the chicken repeatedly, and that will give it a bit of a saucy glaze. At the end, this is what your chicken should look like, a beautiful red and yellow colour with a silky looking sauce. Of course, we'll serve it with the Zereshk Polo, where the deep flavours of the sauce will contrast with the tartness of the barberries. I am excited to dig in. Oh, that is incredible. It's so good. What can I say, this is truly the greatest rice I've ever had. If you're a rice addict like me and looking for more rice dishes, check out this video over here.